Welcome back, fellow armchair generals, to the series that just won't die. Hello everyone, this is Gamer1745 here. This is, of course, the Japanese playthrough that we are having, but we're looking at Germany. And one of the viewers of my look at the US said, we'll now do Germany, Soviet Union, Britain, and, you know, see what they're like. And get really people interested. And I think one other person said, yeah. So it may not be very many. If you want me to look at the Soviet Union, if you want me to look at Britain, I will if this video gets at least 200 views on it. So share it on social media, like it. Just post a comment. Just say, hey gamer, hi gamer, whatever, and I'll say hi back to you. Or I may say hello if you say hi, or if you say hello, I'll say hi, or whatever, just to be slightly different. But that kind of stuff really helps. If you want to see more of anything, liking the videos, sharing the videos, gets more views. Views to a point I have to chase. Did the Fantasy General 2 videos, which flopped, utterly flopped on my channel. But I like the game, and I've actually gone and played it some more, but I'm not recording it because not enough of you like it, and it's not worth it, and can actually make people leave, unsubscribe if you give them too much stuff that they don't like. Okay, so that's just that, if you want to see more. So we're going to look at Germany, part of it. Obviously, we've been seeing the various landings here. We can see now these forces, except for this one Ost-Turk, these are the sort of the Muslims in the SS, which I would agree with generally that militia quality units. Most of these forces are in good shape. Now we did expand it out a little bit more for like manpower and whatnot, but as we can see, we're facing significant enemies down there. We've got stuff now. There are, which we're not playing with Third Reich events, but they are both in Third Reich events as well as in standard Black Ice. There are a series of events that happen once certain conditions in Romania happen, and once Romania basically sort of flips sides or gets occupied or whatever, starts firing, representing the coups and, changing sides in Hungary, in Bulgaria, and Slovakia. That was going on then. So, yeah, that is a thing. Now we can look at their government. I think would be of interest. Obviously, Adolf Hitler's in charge, Martin Bormann, because Hess has done his flight to Britain. Oh, I recently was hearing Neurath. I guess von Neurath, maybe is how you pronounce that. I was pronouncing it something else, but von Neurath. And Helmarsch, that's pretty good. But again, we're looking at the standard game and not Third Reich events approved here. 5% ICA efficiency cancel, 5%. Okay, so actually it's the same. Yeah, because they're just both the same. So that doesn't matter. Yeah, these don't have the good. And I probably should, I just don't know how much I should have used Third Reich events, even though I'm playing as Japan. I really kicked myself. Because I did the Italian playthrough is just, oh yeah, it's going to be, 2-3 weeks until I got the new version out, and so I'm just going to fiddle around with Italy for a little while, just to keep you guys happy and put out some content, get to talk about fascist Italy some. But it turned into a actually rather good series. But there's a whole bunch of events with Third Reich events dealing with Italy that most players never see. I mean, they happen, but you don't see them because you're playing as Germany. But I really should do that. So that's a reasonable thing. Goebbels, that's reasonable. That's all right. Supply consumption, yeah. We might have done better there. Okay, Chief of the Air Force. Right, that isn't so bad. Now here is going to be something bad we're looking at, because I did look at a little bit. Now, lots of ships being produced that are going to be showing up in, 1960 something. Now they are doing right, and they are fully pushing out reinforcements to deal with the needs of the units that are already in the field. That is good. Again, I know I've talked about this before, and longtime viewers have heard. I don't know if I want to put a date on it, but sometime after the initial invasion of the Soviet Union, up until the end of the war, priority was put onto new units as opposed to reinforcing existing German army units. There are several reasons for this. One of the reasons is, a good reason, is, shall we say, simply the expanding empire, if you will. If you've got to occupy Norway, and you've got to occupy Greece, and you're also fighting on the Eastern Front here, you need more units. Simply having fewer really good units doesn't do you, because you have just one unit can be only in one place at a time. So if you have I don't know, 2 divisions fully at strength, or 3 divisions at 2/3 strength, sort of kind of the similar amount of units. The 3 divisions at 2/3 strength, you can put, say, 2 of those divisions on the front line, and the third, garrisoning France or whatever, waiting for the Allied invasion and other things, so you can utilize your troops. Militarily, numbers of troops matter in a battle, but also numbers of units, even within one battle. And this goes back to, like, I'm reading, studying the 18th century and Napoleonic Wars and whatever. A battalion of infantry was the sort of main maneuver unit. And it really didn't matter too much whether that battalion of infantry was 600 man strong or 800 man strong. It really didn't matter. So if you go, well, this army is 20% bigger than the other army, but if the other army, the smaller army, is one, it needs to be well motivated. We can talk about unwell motivated armies. The Kingdom of the Two Sicilies Bourbonist army was crap, but that's another story. But relatively well-motivated army, relatively, we'll call it veteran army, that's smaller versus, an all right motivated and all right equipped and trained larger army. Having the number of units was the more telling factor than simply numbers of soldiers in the opposing sides. So units do matter. Now, if you bleed a unit too white, that becomes a problem on the other end. But because it's, a trained organization of men that are able to, coordinate and fight together, and that matters. So the priority was on more units because of that, but also the priority was on pleasing Hitler. Hitler liked more divisions. He rarely, if ever, and see, this is the thing, it's what did Hitler ask his generals? Well, looking at the map and sees the 30th Panzer Division. Okay, he sees that, and it's moving. He sees the 42nd Infantry Division. But what he never seemed to ask about is what the 64th Panzer Division strength-wise was. That he never really questioned or asked. Is it up to strength? What's its equipment like? It was, well, this division isn't holding, as if all divisions were that he saw on the map were at their strength, whatever it was supposed to be. And so the sycophantic generals at the top, Yodel I would put as one of those. We're not getting some of no, I really didn't want to. I was too fit. Brauhitch to some degree, but definitely Keitel, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes I get these names reading all the histories over the years confused. They were really more into pleasing their boss, Hitler. It's not because, oh, he's Hitler, he's the boss, and you keep the boss happy kind of thing. More into pleasing the boss than other things. So focusing on more units because Hitler wants them. And two, as the war is going on, especially on the Eastern Front, very real levels of defeatism start coming in. And so if you have new units that are, oh man, I just saw Gross Deutschland here has been loaned out to the Slovaks. I've been sitting here, and now at this setting may be a good thing, but when the Slovaks switch sides or surrender, those unit will switch sides or surrender. Prinz Eugen, which isn't maybe that great of a division, but is, it's a mountain division we can look at there, but we can see over here, and this is gutted maybe because the Slovaks can't man it, or I don't know, Germany's trying to man it, a SS Panzer division here. Okay. You're getting new units coming in filled with Hitler Youth and, those types of kids that have been brought up and indoctrinated into, believing in the New Order, National Socialism, victory's certain, blah, 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 the Führer is wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And, which is a really good example of this, as we see in a great movie, though not necessarily great history, is the movie Battle of the Bulge, starring Henry Fonda. But you have Hausa, played by, oh god, I know these names. Robert, guy who was in Jaws as the old fisherman eventually. Oh, I forget. But Hausa, the German panzer leader, and the underground training center he's going to, and boys, these are boys who's saying, when you start seeing the officers, the platoon commanders or whatever of these tanks that he's going to be leading, and they start singing the German marching song there. Great little scene, and then he starts sing, gets his orderly to sing along with him and sees their enthusiasm, and he regains enthusiasm himself for the war. So you've got, if you're doing a decent job in picking not defeated-minded NCOs, you see that this is I know they've given this in Skorzeni's, reasonably skilled here, leader. He was a fairly good commando leader type guy. If you had just taken that, and I know the AI just can't really handle this, and actually add that to one of these other units, where there's some sort of para unit to do some sort of commando-y thing, or just, some other decent unit to just give them a little more boost in combat, that would be a good idea. But so if you're doing a good job in picking one, qualified leaders, and two, not defeated people to be your NCOs, these new units don't have the defeatism in them. They have those, belief in certain victory kind of thing. And so that becomes more and more of a thing. So more units, less worrying about replacements. Now I would try to keep a division from completely being bled white. So if it's getting really low, they're going to send in replacements. There is a whole thing to use the training depot staff to reconstitute using the same names of units lost at Stalingrad, just to sort of say, oh, it wasn't lost at Stalingrad. No, here it is. It's right here. And yeah, 90% of the people that were part of the unit are gone before Stalingrad started. But, however many that were back at the training depot, they've all been moved into the front line of the new unit and giving new recruits. So though that's sort of the one thing, but it's really, they're technically new units. It's just you are actually new units, but technically using old names for them. So outside of that big incident, it's so they're mostly keeping the units from becoming catastrophically too weak, as well as a general small trickle of replacement soldiers into units. So not necessarily matching the losses or even attempting to bring them up to strength, full strength or 90% strength. They're like, oh, it's going to stay at about 60-70% strength, and even with that, we're just going to keep a trickle of replacement peoples in. So we can see a lot of these divisions are not in good shape. Now, okay, HQs don't really matter. So most of the field units are not in good shape here. Okay, we have the 1st Fallschirmjäger Panzer Division, the Hermann Göring Division. They're in great shape. I don't know, that's probably been recently event given. And see, now they do have good commandos. Now obviously this is not a airborne parachute capable division because it has real proper tanks, self-propelled artillery. Now I think a lot of that self-propelled artillery is representing a detachment of Stimmgeschütz, more so than Wasps or Hummels, if I remember correctly. Armored Pioneer unit. So yeah, that's not quite to the level of Hobart's Funnies as an Armored Pioneer unit, but still, pretty good unit. What are we looking up here? We got Panzer Layer. Oh, these are all decimated. Even that guy ain't doing so well. And he's fighting off two guards divisions here. So yeah, they're not. This looks like real decent, even except for that. It's like, oh, Erzatz Brigade. Yeah. Now they had a bunch of these guys that were training outfits that existed through much of the war. Most of the time, they're either in Germany or sent to still be a training outfit, and these would provide the trickle of trained personnel to other units, but they might be sitting in the Low Countries or France or somewhere, sort of doing something of an occupation duty, not so much really trying to police the locals, like doing sweeps for partisans or something. More like they're just there in case they need to be called out. They're there in case there's a British invasion of some sort, like a Dieppe raid, or that's just sort of an in case kind of thing, but mostly just doing their thing and training. So these were existing throughout the before the war, during the war, and it was only at this sort of situation D-Days happened, Italy's fallen, the Soviets are in German territory here in East Prussia, that they're really heavily being put onto the front line. And so they very much were. That is an appropriate thing. So yeah, so this is real. Now, we see that there's 90 men left here, and I want to come and look at it. Now, we also see that there is a lot of stuff that we won't see until 52. The next unit there, it's okay. Well, 49. We'll get somewhere in 49 or 50, we'll get some fighter units at this rate new. So more or less to the outcome of the situation, none of this really matters. Now, fortunately, they are fully funding the reinforcement need. They are not fully funding the upgrade need, which would help, but they are also fully or overfunding right now consumer need. One of the things I wanted to look at was the civil laws. Okay, they're doing the totalitarian system minus needs party support. Okay, service by requirement, that's the one you should. Total economic mobilization, that's what they should be doing. Massive investment in education, yeah, that's probably for the best. Heavy industrial, that's definitely the one you want to do. Press laws, yeah. ICs, specialist training, yeah. So they've got all of that right there, so they have made the right choices to maximize. And then we have +5 in ICs. I see efficiency up. Yeah, probably they're doing that mostly right from a governmental standard. Now, with only 90 men here, part of your problem is sending reinforcements to the front. Now, what I wonder here is, let's take a few of these guys, and I'm not really going to play, but I want to see if, has it allocated the manpower for that? Yes. So we can see here all of these units that, until you clear out this effing backlog of ships and other things, all of these are taking manpower that could be used on the front lines. So that would be a useful bit. And so the AI, and this isn't to blame Black Ice, in any way, shape, or form for this. This is the AI not reprioritizing the needs. What do we need for boy, I'm not looking at this often enough. Convoys. Oh boy, really haven't been jumping back and forth between so many effing games does sometimes cause me some confusion. Where do I find out how many convoys I have? Oh, naval map mode. Thought it was one of these up here. Why am I making production build cost time? Am I just, oh god, you're all laughing at me now, I'm sure. No, I'm sure you are. God, you're going, what? I know I've known this. Am I just getting too old? just saw these here, and are they needed? Oh, here. Oh boy, here. Yeah, okay, so we have 0 convoys. So it's not even able to go, oh, we need to move these to the top. So they've been sunk by the allies. Now what I want to do here is, we're not really going to play the game, but I just want to. Because again, like, I know you might not think if you just did this, but all this sort of happens because you're switching back and forth between, because all these things have happened for the AI version of these same events. So they will happen for, not worth it. Not gonna do these. I know getting more and sticking them on the board might be neat. Get this all together. No, that wasn't long enough. I want to see how. Oh, come on. Move to the top because I want you to see how long until these would be available. Yeah, shattered AI war measures. We've lost the effects of that. Oh, how interesting. So they were getting 150 plus crude oil, or percent crude oil, 50 plus 50% on raw material supplies, 85% on crude research efficiency. Okay. Okay, so they would be seeing these in July 49 even. Oh God. Oh God. Now is that because there's all the way? So just the next one. I don't know. So yeah, they've been doing a lousy job at managing their production. And that's just bad AI, but they've been facing other AIs which are probably doing a bad job managing their production, just that they're not in a desperate situation. I don't know what else is there to look at for yeah, well, they're researching 1946, 1945, and we're still in 44. Technologies for tanks, ground crews, 47, 48. There, so they've, so those all look good. Yeah, 45. So they're, they very, oh well, that should either be moved to the bottom or just stopped because whatever conditions, it can't continue. So they're doing a reasonably good job with all of this. Okay, and I don't know what well, we can obviously look at like capital ships. Yep, they've researched them till sort of current, but they're keeping up with everything else. So okay, may not be perfect or the best, but that's okay. So their research was doing well. Their politics are just still the generic stuff. reinforcements. So what else? Yeah, you can see these units are all hollowed out, the fighting ones. Yeah. Basically non-existent as effective, so now here we have a lot of good units that they did prioritize in dealing with the allies here. Camel Corps. So they do have some of that, so that isn't so bad shape-wise. These are okay. But it's like we can see here, it just, on the Eastern Front, sure, the Corps hasn't been in the front line enough to get hollowed out, but a lot of these other units have been, and are slowly replacing, but aren't going to hold back the Soviet juggernaut. Yeah, not bad units, not terrible shape if some of the other stuff weren't, you know, so devastated. Yeah, some are not bad, and I don't know why are they sending this division back to here. What's the point? Yeah, sending it to there. Why does the AI think it should be there? I could see sending it somewhere else. We could see that they've been wasting, you know, units down, giving them to other nations. What is this? Is this diplomacy at war with Poland? Okay, so this version, little rump state of. You can see all these other things that are opening up because we moved from AI to human control. So yeah, not necessarily good units, but yeah. Okay, so we see what's going on there. I forget, one of you is, you know, often chides me for not completing the series and whatever. Well, yeah, like the Italian series, Soviet Union defeated me. Yeah, no, they didn't get into Rome, but they were pushing back, and I was going to be, given time, I was going to be pushed out of Turkey, and only just the AI's inability to do good naval invasions was going to keep Italy from falling there. And I think eventually Germany would have fallen. Here, well, again, Germany's going to fall. Maybe there are events or something that the Soviet Union, once Germany's gone, would join in the war on us. And if you want me to take a look at the Soviet Union, click like, share, make a comment, tell a friend, I don't know, tell an enemy to watch the channel, watch this video, get 200 plus views, and I will make a Soviet and then a British look, and can be a short talk on things. Just don't know what else I should show you. Production, we have enough raw materials, more or less, including energy for now, crude oil for now. Crude oil might not last, but there's a lot of it right now. Fuel 100,000 K, yeah, that's going to last until the end of Germany, and that may be buffed by it being in the AI. So thanks so much. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.